My name is Matthew Vu, and I am representing the coding and programming team from Centennial High School. Today, I will be demonstrating the functionality of my FBLA member database program. So the problem is that for a large chapter like ours, it can get very hard to handle large amounts of member information, things like names, emails, and community service hours in something like an Excel spreadsheet. And so I designed a solution to that, which is my web application, which has a simple guided user interface to allow users to add, update, and delete members. I decided to create a web application because it can be accessible from any device using a browser, and I programmed it using HTML, CSS, PHP, and JavaScript within the Atom IDE. And all the data is being stored on a MySQL database running on my local development server. So I have it stored in the FBLA members database, and I have two tables. The member data table stores all member data like name, grade, hours, email, password, authorization level, and ID number. And I have a password reset table that stores data for password resets. And so here is the home page for my web application, and this is being created by this PHP file here on the right. So up top here is a PHP code that does a SQL query to get all the data to display on these member cards, and each of these member cards is created by a for each loop down here in the HTML body. And so if I want to create a new member, I have to sign in using my advisor account, and I can go to my menu and add member. And here on the right is the code for my add member form. So down here is the HTML form that outputs this add member form right here. And once the user enters in information, it will be sent to this PHP add member validator form file, which will validate all the data that I enter. And so I'm going to create a new member. I'm going to call him Bob Smith. And to test the error checking capabilities of this form, I'm going to enter an invalid email. I'm going to enter passwords that don't match. I'm going to enter a non-high school grade, an invalid number of service hours, and an invalid ID. I'm going to try submit, but as you can see here, the form has caught the errors and has returned them to this form. So I'm going to enter a valid formatted email address. I'm going to enter two passwords that match. And I'm going to enter valid high school grade, valid number of hours, and a valid student ID number. And I will make him an admin. And as you can see here, the new member has been added to my database. And so now I'm going to walk through how this add form works. So first, it sets all the fields to the initial value, and then it creates an array for each value, and it will assign it to something empty for now, and this will be store our errors if any occur during the validation process. And so down here, it checks if the user hits the submit button. It checks if the user hit the submit button in the add form. And the first thing it checks is the name. And so it checks if the name is empty. And if it's empty, it'll put that into the errors of the array, and I'll return it to the form. And if the name is not empty, it'll run a regular expression check to see if the name only contains letters and spaces, and if it doesn't, it'll also return an error. Now, a similar check happens with the email field, but so here it checks if the email is empty, and if it's not empty, it'll also do a SQL query to check if the email has already been registered by another person within the database, and if it has, then it'll return an error. The rest of the fields are checked in a similar way as a name field, and down here, it will escape all the SQL for the fields to prevent an SQL injection, and it'll insert all this data into the member database. And so now I'm going to show you how to update a member. So if I click on more info on Bob Smith, I choose update info, and I'm going to add 100 hours to his community service hours, and I click submit. You can see here that his number of hours has been updated. And I also choose to update his profile image. So I go down here, go to custom upload. I'll choose a random JPEG file. I'll upload that. If I go back to the home page, you can see here that his profile picture has been updated. And the update form here on the right is very similar to the add form in the way that it validates user data. And down here is where it creates the form for the updates. I can also choose to delete this member if I so choose so. So if I press delete, he'll be removed from the database. And I also have a help page right here in the menu. If any users have questions, they can go in here and they can check the common questions. And I thought that the website was pretty intuitive, so I didn't create anything too complex for this help page right here. And so the final feature of my database program is that it sends weekly emails to admins and advisors regarding the community service hours and categories for each member of the chapter. And so I'm going to run here the VBS script that will send the emails to all the users. And I have these VBS scripts as a task within the Windows Task Scheduler. And so here I have a task setup. It'll run every week on Monday at 6 p.m. and it'll run that script, and so that'll send the emails to each of the users. So as you can see, the email has just been sent to my advisor account. Here the advisor receives the report for the entire chapter. It has a cumulative hours for all members right here, and it has a total number of awards in each category. Similar thing happens for the members. They get a report that says their total number of hours and their service award category. And here's documentation for my program. Thank you for your time.